ladies and gentlemen, Winnipeggers, welcome back to the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. I'm Brad Wilder. It's great to be back. Yes, I'm a long ways away out here in Alberta, but we've still got the old background up from Winnipeg because it's home. It's where I came from and was born. I was born at the Grace Hospital, actually, in Winnipeg, and proud to grow up in both, St. James in Crestview, as well as over in Charleswood. Let's bring in our man himself, Mr. Mike Vogiatzakis, the man running for mayor of the city, trying to make every neighborhood better, every community better, every citizen live a much longer and healthier lifestyle and prosperous future versus, some of the things that are going on today in the city. Mike, great to have you here. I can see you perfectly clear. Can we hear you tonight?
Can you hear me? I think you'll hear me just fine. I think everything is working as it should be working tonight.
I'm hoping like so, Mike. I see everything up on my, right up here on my TV. Seems like we've got everything going. I see lots of stuff. We're just waiting for confirmation on a couple of things.
I could see everything on my end working. I could tell you that
Mikey. Everything is running
watching
perfect.
The show tonight.
My tech is just outside the door here. He said everything is a thumbs up tonight, so we're back. And I'm really happy that that's happening because we tried last week and we had some technical difficulties, but we were able to take care of them tonight. Now, Mike, we got a big show. It's a lot to get to. This could take an hour and a half or 2 hours even if we wanted it to, but we're not going to do that to our viewers. We're going to try to keep this within an hour, but we need to get to exactly what's going on right now. So, look, the last couple of days, lots has been happening in your world that's affected your family. The past is brought back up to haunt you in a sense, to bring back memories that, you've kind of tried to move on all winter long with. And for the past year, it's a situation that needs to be discussed again. People need to understand what happened. Then they need to understand what happened during the trial and where we're at today. So I'll let you take it from here. Why don't you fill everybody in and give them a good glimpse of what's going on with Mike Vogiatzakis?
Well, Mike Vogiatzakis and family was back at the law courts building again yesterday where they were supposed to finally give a verdict. The verdict is guilty, but they were supposed to sentence him yesterday. And of course, that didn't happen. But something I want to do tonight as we get into the show is I want to read my impact statement to you. Something I read to the judge yesterday. But the funny thing about my impact statement is they took a whole bunch of stuff out. So when I was there, they said, you can't read this and you can't read that. And I'm like, well, what's the point of reading an impact statement if you're taking it all out? And anything to do with his past criminal record or history, they wouldn't let me read. As a matter of fact, there was a part in there that I said that a year prior to my brother's death, my son Josh went on Facebook, saw something from the RCMP and shared it on Facebook. And they wouldn't let me put that on either because they said that's a violation of his rights. So I was kind of taken back. It set me off yesterday when I walked into the courtroom and had to change my impact statement, or at least read what they told me that I can read. And it's funny because the justice system is really broken. And I'm hoping that tomorrow at 9 a.m., when we go back to court for sentencing, that justice will be served. I'm hoping the courts will do the right thing and give this guy the sentence that he deserves. Something I want you to know about my brother's killer. He has been on a catch and release program for most of his life. Commit a crime, released a little while later, commit a crime, released, always resisting arrest when they caught him, always giving people problems, even fights at a penitentiary. So he was a problem child, and it is what it is. And, the system failed our family. There's no doubt about that. And that's why Kyriakis is dead today. And that's why so many other families across Manitoba struggle with the court system and the catch and release program. And that's why our streets are so dangerous, and we need to do something about it. If we don't fix this catch and release program, this city does not have a future. Neither do your children or grandchildren.
Mike, one thing I want to know is the judge obviously sat there that day. You read your impact statement. There were other people who did as well that day. I want to know why the judge called is it a recess, or what's the term there where she stopped it because obviously they can't go on until tomorrow now. So what's that about?
She just said she needed more time for some reason. So of course, the Crown.
was there emotions in the courtroom, Mike?
There was lots of emotions in the courtroom. As a matter of fact, when I read my impact statement, there was many emotions and a lot of tears. And I want to take some time.
Was that
maybe just
something that affects a judge too? Like, do you think
I think a
runs
judge
deep
is
within the judge themselves, and they need to call that recess for any particular reason other than, is it that she needs time to think about what she just heard and not make a judgment call so quickly because of what you just said, or is it
I think,
just 48-hour rule kind of thing like hockey?
I think a judge is human. So we're both lawyers and the Crown attorneys. They have feelings, emotions, and they have families. So I'm sure impact statements, especially another one that came from my mom, talking about losing her son, and I had to read it to the court. And that was pretty touching. The final thing my mom said in her impact statement is, you have to be a mother to understand the pain that I'm going through. And that was pretty emotional, and I'm sure it touched everyone's heart in that courtroom who is a mother. And, I did something yesterday that, call it unorthodox, call it what you want, but his mom and dad were in the courtroom, and they've been through this long process like we have, 2 years, 6 months of them having to come to court and deal with their son in custody. So yesterday I said to the Crown attorney that I'm going to go talk to his family. And they said, well, that's probably not a good idea, Mike. So I walked up to his family and I said, listen, I want you to know something, that we have no hard feelings against you, his mom and dad. We understand that you're in just as much pain as we are. You have a son who's committed a crime and is facing a sentence. And as parents, you hurt because that is your son, just like we hurt because our brother and our family member is murdered. And it took a lot for me to do that, but I think that's something they needed to hear. And, you got to feel for the other side too. Maybe not the person who murdered my brother, but his parents going through a really, really hard time in their lives dealing with their son and his crimes, and listening to the history of what they've been through and how much trouble and how much he's put his family through was pretty incredible. And the final thing that maybe set me off a little bit is that their lawyer suggested that he would get house arrest. And I thought that was hilarious. That was the closest you can get to murder. And house arrest is totally something that I don't think should happen. Living at your mom's house after you've been on a catch and release and never stayed in one place and never returned when the judge gave you any type of orders whatsoever, just ignored him and did your own thing. Yeah. So I hope the judge does the right thing and puts him in a penitentiary where I think he needs to be, to have some cooling off time, think about life, and maybe take some courses and make himself a better person. Maybe find God in his heart and in forgiveness.
What kind of a sense, you're affected, so, your judgment might be a little bit clouded in a sense to come up with a number, but do you have a number? What are your thoughts on this situation in terms of length of time that someone should serve?
Well, I think the judge should give him 8 years. So my brother's been dead for 2 years, and he's already served 3 years of his sentence. Right. So if he gets 8 years, he only serves a bit of time. They take 3 years away from that sentence. So he would only serve 5 years. So any sentence that he gets, they automatically take 3 years off that sentence, because that's considered time served. 1.5 days credit for every day that you sit in a remand center or Headingley. So it's pretty crazy. It was emotional. It's been a rough 2 years for our family, and maybe some people are sick of me talking about Kyriakis, but this whole mirror run is about him, and I'm doing it in his memory to make change, so other families may not have to struggle.
Sick of hearing about Kyriakis. This is a court case that Winnipeggers are faced with every single day in the city, as you know, and one of the things that Winnipeggers need to hear is the reality of where our judicial system is at, and not calling it out by any means, but there's certain things federally that dictate down provincially and then into the Winnipeg system, for example, that dictate how these sentences go. And obviously she's going to make her decision tomorrow, but it's predicated by some other judge federally who also looks at the cases, I'm sure, as well, and puts a number on this too. But at the end of the day, that's why all this slapping on the wrist continues to happen. It's like a revolving door that we've talked about many, many times within the judicial system in Winnipeg and other cities across this country. It's not just Winnipeg, and that's why I guess I can say that so blatantly. If it was just Winnipeg, then obviously that would be a little bit different, but it's everywhere. So
I'm going to read my
the impact statement. Do you want to talk about the impact statement? Do you actually want to read that here tonight for everyone?
I'm going to read it. I'm going to read what I read in the courts, but the only difference is I'm going to read what they didn't allow me to read in the courts, so everyone can hear. And this is my feelings. This is coming from my heart. I might touch some other people's hearts, but it is a little emotional. But it's how I feel, and the impact statement is all about how this impacted you as a human being, as a brother, as a family member.
Well, the floor is yours, Mike. Take it away.
My name is Mike Vogiatzakis. Kyriakis was not only my brother, he was my best friend, a son, an uncle, a friend to countless people, and a man who dedicated his life to helping others and bringing people together. On January 24th, 2024, our lives changed forever. I will never forget that day my life changed. I received numerous calls from the staff at the restaurant saying, "You need to come down here right now." I could not fully understand what was happening yet, but I could hear the panic and fear in their voices. I immediately called my brother Nick and my brother Peter and told them something really bad has happened to Kyriakis. I have a really bad feeling. Everything good just went bad. My brother Peter was only a short distance away from my house. I picked him up and together we raced down the highway towards the scene. We were probably driving close to 140 kilometers an hour because all we could think about is how we were going to get there and help our brother, no matter what the situation was. I will never forget arriving at the scene and watching the ambulance drive away. Then I looked into the eyes of a police officer and asked him, "Is my brother going to be okay?" I saw tears running down that officer's face. At that moment, I knew something had gone terribly wrong. That image will stay with me for the rest of my life. Kyriakis lay on the cold ground for approximately 25 minutes before an ambulance arrived. 25 minutes. That day, the system failed our family. A known criminal with a long record was released back on our streets on a promise to appear. He never did appear back in court, and because of that, our family paid the ultimate price for a catch and release system that failed Kyriakis terribly. I remember that about a year ago, before my brother's murder, my son Josh saw a message from the RCMP on Facebook warning the public about a dangerous offender and advertising people do not approach him, and if they see him, to call 911 immediately. Josh shared that message on Facebook. When I asked him why he shared it, he replied, "Dad, maybe we will save somebody's life." A year later, that same person from that warning message took Kyriakis' life. Kyriakis died alone on that cold street outside the restaurant he worked so hard to build. A restaurant he poured his heart, soul, time, and love into for years. I will never forget calling my wife, Sharon, and telling her to pick up my mother and bring her to the hospital. I begged her not to tell my mother anything other than Kyriakis was in the hospital because I could not bear the thought of her hearing the truth before she got there. I will never forget standing inside that hospital, praying for a miracle. And I will never forget the moment my nephew Christopher walked out from the emergency room and said, "Uncle Kyriakis is dead." In that moment, I could barely breathe. It felt like a nightmare, and I just wanted to pinch myself and wake up. It felt like my world stopped. I will never forget my wife Sharon pulling up to the Health Science Center with my mother in the back seat. I had to walk toward her and tell her her son was gone. The Kyriakis has gone to heaven and was no longer here with us. At that moment, I truly thought my mother was going to collapse from the shock and heartbreak. No parent should ever hear those words about their child. No mother or family member should ever have to sit in a courtroom and watch video footage of their loved one being brutally murdered, zoomed in and replayed in horrifying detail. The pain, the disbelief, and the shock in my mother's eyes are something I will carry forever. I saw it in my brother's faces. I saw it in my nephews' and nieces' faces. I saw it in his friends. And as the news spread across the city, the reality hit everyone who loved him. Kyriakis was gone. I will never forget walking into the morgue at Health Science Center, where there were roughly 30 bodies present. Michael McIver and I went from one body to another, trying to identify Kyriakis. When I finally found my brother's body, I froze. That was the moment reality kicked in. Nothing could prepare me for what I was about to experience. Nothing could prepare me, or my friend and fellow funeral director, Michael McIver, for the ride up the elevator, beside my little brother, wrapped in plastic on a stretcher. We placed Kyriakis in the van and began the long drive back to the funeral home, crying in disbelief the entire way. I will never forget the funeral home overhead door opening as the van slowly drove inside. And I will never forget the moment we had to unload Kyriakis and bring him into the morgue, where we would have to embalm my little brother. I unwrapped the shroud and saw Kyriakis for the first time after he was murdered. That image will never leave me. As we placed Kyriakis onto the embalming table, his body wide open, I asked Mike to stop for a moment. I said a prayer for Kyriakis, for Mike McIver, and myself. And for that brief moment, God seemed to clear my mind. I then had to make the hardest decision of my life. Was I going to embalm my little brother? I decided that no matter how much it would break my heart, I wanted to take care of Kyriakis myself, alongside my colleague, Michael McIver. Together, we carefully worked on my brother's broken body, preparing him so that family and my brothers and my nieces and nephews, and especially my mom, could see her son one final time with dignity, love, and respect. No brother should ever have to deal with that. No family should ever have to endure that kind of pain. I have spent my entire life, my career, helping families through grief as a funeral director. I have stood beside thousands of grieving people over the years, but nothing prepared me for burying my little brother. Nothing prepared me for explaining to people the man in the casket was my brother Kyriakis. Nothing prepared me for watching my mother break down. Nothing prepared me for watching my family trying to survive the unbearable. The court has heard the evidence in this case. The violence inflicted upon Kyriakis stole not only his life, but part of every person who loved him. The loss of Kyriakis cannot be measured in legal documents or sentencing or submissions. It is measured by the empty chairs at family dinners. It is measured in birthdays that will never be celebrated together. It is measured in tears of a mother who buried her son. It is measured in the pain of our family that we will continue to carry for the rest of our lives. It is also very disappointing to know that a murderer is given 1.5 days in credit for every day served, taking a human life. Kyriakis has been dead for 2 years now, while his killer has already been credited with serving nearly 3 years of his sentence. For our family, there are no credits. There are no reductions. There is no time off from pain, grief, trauma, and devastation we continue to live with every single day. Kyriakis was only 51 years old. He still had dreams. He still had plans. He still had years ahead of him. And all of that was taken away. Nothing this court can do will ever bring my brother back. Nothing can undo the pain. Nothing can erase the memories of that night. But accountability matters. Because every human life matters. My brother mattered. Kyriakis deserved to live. He deserved to grow old. He deserved to come home that night. Instead, we were left with heartbreak, trauma, grief, and a lifetime of pain that our family will carry forever. Kyriakis will never be forgotten. Thousands of people attended his funeral service and prayers held at the Greek Orthodox Church. He touched so many lives. He made so many people laugh. He had the perfect smile, a genuine and honest personality, and a deep respect for others. Kyriakis was genuine and truly one of a kind. We will continue to honor his memory, continue his charitable work, and keep his spirit alive in everything we do. But I want you to know, the day Kyriakis died, he took part of us with him.
And with that, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
At ASAP Auto Glass Winnipeg,
We know you need it repaired fast. That's why we do all the work. From contacting AutoPack and starting your claim to replacing that broken windshield, we make sure your visit is carefree with quality service you know and love. From automotive to industrial, we replace and repair. From cars, trucks, and SUVs to industrial glass, we get the job done right the first time. At asapautoglass.com, our website has all the answers you're looking for when repairing or replacing your automotive glass. Winnipeg Auto Glass Repair is ASAP Auto Glass. Experts and fast. Book your appointment today. All right, welcome back to the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Mike, lots of people online with us tonight. Let's get right into some saying hi because, well, everybody's been waiting about 25 minutes now for us to say hello to them. So let's say hi to Gord straight away. Gord's online with us. He says, evening, Mike and Brad. Al Bueller's up second. He's saying hello, Mike, as well. Michelle Ann Stengel Place is here. Looking forward to the show tonight, she says. We've got some others on here, like Mike Cherry saying, evening all. Hope you all are staying dry. That's probably not a good thing to stay in Manitoba today after the storms and the bad weather they had yesterday. Looks like Barb Bitch is here, as well as Sandra Dupuis is with us tonight. Debbie Kwan is here as well. Thanks for mentioning me, Debbie. I appreciate it. Not a lot of others do. No, wait, I'm lying. Lots of people say hi to me too, Mike. I'm just pulling your yank. There we go. Let's see. Steve Bage is here. Bonnie Irwin is here. Christina Coppers Bloomfield is joining us, as well as Rick Parsons. We've got Debbie Lamoureux with us. Michael Newman is with us. Gloria Kay. Twin Peak Farms is here, as well as Brenda Jezik, as well as, let's see here. There's so many coming up now that Darren Lavallee is with us. Let's see here.
How about Kathy Tickle? Is she with us?
I haven't
tonight?
seen Kathy yet, but she might be a little bit farther down. Al
I see
Scher
some
is with
people
us.
now.
Sandy Cheadle, Mark Simpson.
Ted
Susan
Cousy.
Hall is here. Trevor Kraft, Lynn Ducharme. Those are just, Patrick Allard is with us. Hey, Patrick, good to have you on. Big smiley face there. Hi, Brad. Hi, Mike. All right. Well, Mike, it's a big show tonight. Good evening, Winnipeg, and welcome back to the Mike Vogiatzakis Show. Tonight's show is going to be all about the city of Winnipeg, as we always talk about moving forward as Mike moves into his mayoral candidacy. We'll be talking about Mike's bus plan, the confusing parking issues across the city, the EPC, and why City Hall needs more accountability. We'll also talk about, well, a very emotional update. We did that already, so we'll skip that one. We're going to want to give a heartfelt thank you to Everlasting Memorials as well for their kindness and their generosity, support, and compassion tonight. Mike, those guys did a great job on that bench. I was astounded at the look of it. What is that, granite? It's beautiful.
Yeah, do you have a picture of that? Are you going to slap it up on the
I'm
screen?
going to see if I can get that up for you right now, buddy. Yes, sir. Let's see. If
So I want to thank
there it is.
Everlasting Memorials. There it is.
Yep.
Almost. Coming?
Everybody
There we
can
go.
see it except you.
Oh, I want to I want to thank Everlasting Memorials. So I was coming into work one day at the funeral home, and as I was walking down the sidewalk to come into work, on the right-hand side, tucked away, I saw a bench with Kyriakis' picture on it, and Everlasting Memorials donated that bench at no charge. It's a big, heavy marble bench that is going to keep Kyriakis' memory alive outside the funeral home, and I'm sure a lot of people will sit there and reminisce on the memories they had with Kyriakis.
Simply stunning, isn't it? It's beautiful. Do you know how they make those? I mean, his picture's engraved into that. It's so realistic looking.
Yeah, I see it now because I'm on my phone as I can see it with you. So, that would cost probably maybe $10,000 to put in a cemetery. You know how they have benches you could sit in on a cemetery? So I just really want to thank them. That's when you know that the generosity of people is out there and love is out there. And it just puts a lot of faith in humanity. When a company reaches out and gives from their heart, and you know that I do that a lot from the funeral home myself. So it's good to know that there's other companies out there who actually care about families that are struggling and going through a tough time in their lives, and reach out and touch somebody's heart. And wow, what a great feeling.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know,
My
Kathy
mom
Gibbons.
saw it for the first time, and she went out there and my mom, she got a rag and some cleaning supplies and went out there and shined up that bench so it was nice and clean, and then sat there for a couple of minutes and just relaxed.
Now, does that bench stay in front of the funeral home, or are you moving it inside, or how does that work?
No, we're going to keep it outside there. It'll be a bench where people could sit and talk and just kind of hang out, and it's people phone me all the time now saying they've driven by the funeral home and they saw the bench there and they love the way it looks. So
And it's got to be 1,000,000 pounds, eh?
they brought it in with a tractor, a sort of a tractor where they put it in its spot. So yeah, great bench. Good for
Nobody's
those
picking
guys
it up
taking
and
some.
throwing it over their shoulder and carrying it away. That's the best part.
I got a funny feeling there'll be a few people sleeping on it in that neighborhood, but other than that, I think it'll be fine.
Well, you're about to talk about some of that solution tonight, too. I'm sure there's a lot of problems in Winnipeg, and you mentioned homelessness or sleeping on a bench like that one, and makes me think of your solutions that you've already put on the table a little bit throughout your campaign so far, but we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up a little later on tonight. Kathy Gibbons made a comment, and she says, "We need you bad, Mike." So she's talking about the city of Winnipeg needs you bad. I think a lot of Winnipeggers are going to feel that way after they continue to see you and your platform and what you really stand for and what you mean to everybody. Your compassion, your dedication, your commitment, your lack of sleep. I know you like to, work all hours, and you'll do whatever it takes to get the job done, and then you can rest after that. You plan yourself out very, very well to kind of be able to maintain not only your own health but also the people around you, so that they're not working 24 hours a day too. So, Mike, when you become mayor, what do you think your first priority is going to be for the city of Winnipeg and the citizens of Winnipeg?
I got to say something about the comment. So, nobody's going to fight for Winnipeg like I will. After the loss of my brother, my heart's on fire. There's something lit in my heart that is not easy to put out. And I want to bring change to Winnipeg. I want to bring back a safe Winnipeg, a Winnipeg where you're going to be proud of, a Winnipeg where your kids are going to grow up in and your grandkids, and they're going to love it here. They're not going to want to leave. And we want to keep the people here who are, I had a friend of mine whose son graduated from medical school here, and the first thing he did is packed his bags and left Winnipeg. We want to change that. We want to make Winnipeg a place where you want to stay. We want to put the people first again, and I will be a people's mayor. I will be your voice in City Hall, and I will work hard to make sure that your voice is heard. And I want to bring common sense back to City Hall. I think common sense has been lacking for quite a while. I want to focus on core services, safer streets, better roads, reliable transit, and that's a big one, and we're going to talk about that tonight. And honest government. We need honest government and respect for taxpayers, and those two kind of go together. So we need to ensure that the city works for the citizens, not insiders, not special groups. We need to restore pride back into the city of Winnipeg, stop overcharging taxpayers while services are declining, be visible, be accountable, and listen to the residents. So we need to make decisions based on what helps everyday Winnipeggers. And that's the kind of mayor I'm going to be. A very busy mayor, a very active mayor. And even when people say, I ran into a gentleman the other day that works for the city of Winnipeg, and he said this to me, "Mike, there's one thing that caught my attention that you said." And I said, "Oh, what was that?" And he said this: "A mayor has a voice, and his voice is loud and clear, and it's the loudest voice in Winnipeg. And maybe some matters like the catch and release program, federal and provincial politics aren't the mayor's business, but the mayor has the voice to make change in his city. And it's going to be loud and clear coming from me, and I won't be sitting there allowing things that affect our city to fall apart. I will make so much noise that they will hear me and they will hear the residents of the city."
Mike, let's talk about your bus plan. That's another situation that the city of Winnipeg has been faced with. Obviously, the bus routes were changed, the bus stops were changed. People aren't able to get to places they used to get to, like, the university, for example. There's problems with that route. There's problems with getting to the Grace Hospital, I've heard. So there's a lot going on with this bus plan. What's your takeaway on all this, and how do you plan on fixing that up? Because that's...
I can tell you the first thing I do when I get into City Hall, the first 30 days, I'm going to review and restore practical direct bus routes wherever possible. What does that mean? We're going to go back and try to restore the 1,200 bus stops that they've taken away, and we're going to put them as close to possible as they were. But it's ridiculous for people walking in 40 below weather, people with sicknesses, people who are disabled, people with young children. What they've done to the bus system in the city is incredibly bad. And the mayor now is reaching out and saying, oh, we're going to make changes. Of course you're going to make changes. You're going to try to make changes because in just a few months, there's a re-election. And if you notice, Scott Gillingham has been in the public eye now more than you've ever seen him in 3 years. As a matter of fact, a lot of people didn't even know what he looked like. And all of a sudden, boom, there he is, like magic. We're going to reduce unnecessary walking distances, the missed connections, the confusion and delays. We're going to bring that back for you. We're going to bring routes back to the hospitals, as you were talking about, Brad, important destinations, and create a transit system that works for the people that are going to schools, appointments, and safety. And you know that I have a plan, and it's called the bus pass system sort of thing, where we're going to introduce a transit pass, provided at no charge to the city of Winnipeg. And this is where people get it wrong. We talked about this before, and that's why this show is good, so we could clear things up. This transit pass that we're talking about is not digital identification, not even near.
It's not?
If anyone knows me, you would know I'm completely against digital identification of any type. And Brad, and so are you. The purpose of this pass is strictly safety, accountability, security, so riders can electronically load fares on it, and we're going to maybe make it where you can have it on your phone. It's going to be an easy pass to work, but what it's going to do is allow us to know who's on the bus. If there's a situation, if there's a problem, we know how to handle it and how to take care of it as quickly as possible. It's about improving safety for passengers and drivers that are driving these transit buses that are always in a difficult situation. And part of that plan is a shelter plan. We want to invest in stronger, modern, shatterproof bus shelters. And that's going to reduce vandalism, broken glass, and repair costs to taxpayers. I think you have a picture of that if you want to bring that up too.
Yeah, but it's not the shelter that you're going to build, obviously. This is just a
no,
one
that's the bus there.
Glass.
But the shelter that you're going to see up there is basically what we want to do at every bus shack. We want to light that bus shack up as if it's broad daylight. So no matter where you are, people can see you. So you're not standing at a dark bus stop where you could be attacked. People driving by will be able to see you. And we want to have, that's sort of like what you're seeing on the screen now, where it's a lit up bus shack or bus shelter that's going to allow people to see you. More visibility. We're going to build a cleaner, brighter, safer, heated bus shelter. And the lighting is going to be a big thing because a lot of these people stand at bus shelters and you can't see them. So they're prone to violence at that time. So you're going to require this transit pass to access the bus shelters. The plan is, in order to get into this heated bus shelter that's shatterproof, and by the way, you just can't bust the door open if that's what you're thinking. Yes, somebody can follow you in, but we will have panic buttons in these bus shelters. So this is going to be about safety. And nobody's really brought up a safety plan yet that makes sense. This makes sense. We're going to try and keep you safe. We're going to try and identify who's on the bus. And where does your information go? It stays with transit at the Transit Control Center.
So let me see if I can break this down a little more clearly. So basically you want to create it, and there's already a pass. You can already electronically put money on your pass and then go onto the bus and put your card in the and you pay right through that card. Now, all you want to do is provide a security measure on that card is what you're saying. Are you adding to the card or are you creating a whole nother card? Because I tell you what, they're already having to go on their phones downtown to try to get the meters right. And that's a struggle alone for some seniors, as you've talked about and I know about. I'll take the ticket, officer. I'd rather take the ticket. I can't figure out your apps and my credit card I can't figure out right now, and I'm not putting it online and blah, 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 right? You're going to get all that kind of jazz. So you buy your bus pass, you get your bus pass, they clear you for security at the same time. It's all on the same card. It's all on the same pass. You can pay. Your payment is your security verification that you're safe to come on the bus. If you can't pass it when they buy it, is that something like we're talking about, Mike?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Anybody will be able to get this bus pass. So it'll be the reason we want everyone to have a secure bus pass is we're going to have your information again, not digital ID.
It's not to
but
keep
we
the
want to know
bad
who's on
people
the
off the
bus.
bus, though, Mike, or what? Like, you're
So
trying to
basically, when
deter
something happens
criminals,
on the
right?
bus, right? When something happens on the bus, we know who's on that bus. So when police are called, they know how to come and what situation they're going to walk into. Whether it's somebody out on the catch and release program, whether it's somebody who's maybe a convicted rapist, we know who's on that bus, and that's going to matter. And the other thing we plan on in doing is, so something that's wrong in the city of Winnipeg, and a lot of people don't know this. Right now, when you're on a bus, you're very unsafe. Why? Because Winnipeg's control center for the buses is completely out of date. So bus drivers have panic buttons on their buses. And when there's a problem, they push the panic button and it alerts control center, who sends people out to deal with the situation. So a little while ago, somebody was shot on the bus, a bus driver. He was shot in the hand. He pushed the panic button, and that message did not go to the control center. So it wasn't activated. Nobody knew what happened. Nobody knew a bus driver was shot, and other passengers could have been at risk for maybe being shot also, or something worse. So the bus driver literally had to get off the bus, use his phone, call 911, and tell the police that he was shot. We want to update this control center where it's up to date, the latest GPS. We know where these buses are. We know these panic buttons are working. We know when the bus driver is in trouble or there's problems on the bus, they hit this panic button and they know they're going to get help right away. Now, what we're going to do is, and a lot of people say, how are you going to pay for this? Of course, that's the number one thing everyone says. How are you going to pay for this, Mike? With these bus shelters, what we're going to do is work with local businesses, which the city of Winnipeg should be doing more often. It's kind of a sponsorship program with these bus shelters. So let's just say Voyage Funeral Home wants to buy a bus shelter not far from the funeral home. What we're going to do is we're going to pay for that bus shelter. We're going to pay for the building of it. We're going to pay for the system that's going to go into it to keep people safe. And then we're going to get to advertise our company for 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is, in return for the money that we paid for these bus shelters. So Winnipeg businesses are going to pay for these bus shelters in return for free advertising. And this is taking the pressure off the citizens of Winnipeg who go, well, how are you going to pay for this, Mike? That's what we're going to pay for. We're going to go and work in partnership with local business, local entrepreneurs. And there's many businesses who've reached out to me already and said, hey, we want to be a part of that. Paying for the installation, paying for the maintenance, and then in return, receiving advertisement. How do you go wrong? It reduces the financial burden on taxpayers. Transit will be safe and secure. And my plan may not be perfect, but we are going to work on it. At least it's a starting plan. And we can work with our team. And when we get into City Hall, we can work with the councillors. And this is an important part, is having councillors who are on the same level as you are when they're thinking safety, when they're thinking how we're going to keep the system modern and keep the transit control center up to date using the latest technology. It's a great plan. It's the only plan anyone's had in years. We're going to improve emergency response times. We want to have panic buttons on the bus shelters. We want to have them lit up. The driver should never feel abandoned during dangerous situations. And they are right now. We want to work with the Winnipeg Police Service and community service partners. So my plan would be to put cadets on there, but we're also going to look and speak with the Winnipeg Police and try to figure out if we can get a transit police, where transit police take care of transit completely. We already have the vehicles there. We already have the manpower. We just need to give them the authority to be able to take care of transit. This way, city police officers can take care of crimes on our street while they could still back up transit police or cadets or whoever's going to be on that bus to make it safer. But we will make these buses safer. We will increase visibility, and visibility will increase safety. Plus, this is a big thing. We're going to have a zero tolerance policy on these buses. Zero tolerance for violence, for threats, for harassment, for open drug use, drinking, vandalism, disorderly behavior. Rules and regulations will clearly be posted on the bus and strictly enforced. And what I hear from a lot of people right now, including the bus drivers, the rules are not being enforced. People are getting on the bus and they're not paying. And many people see this happening every day of the week and nothing happens to those people. We need to have accountability, and when you're doing something wrong, you need to pay the price. So that bus will continue going down the street and he will push that button telling transit control that something's wrong, somebody's on the bus who hasn't paid, and they will be removed by the authorities. And once we remove people a few times, they're going to get the picture that you can't ride for free anymore. Transit riders deserve safety, and drivers of those buses respect protection from the city of Winnipeg. Families deserve reliable service, Brad, and taxpayers deserve accountability. So let's build a transit system that's focused on safety, reliability, accountability, and common sense, and restore public confidence in Winnipeg transit.
Absolutely, Mike. That's a mouthful. I tell you, you've got a big mission and task ahead of you. One of the things that always comes to mind when you talk about big projects such as this one is the team that surrounds a person. Counselors, your own in-house, city hall team members. What does that look like? How do you see that structure working out for yourself in terms of generating the support for an idea such as the one you've just proposed, for example?
I think what we're going to do is have people on board that have the same mindset that I do, and that's putting the city of Winnipeg first. Look, we want our city back. We want our city back. We want our freedom back. We want to be able to feel safe in our neighborhoods. We want to be able to let our kids play in parks. I don't know about you. When I was young, I would be on the street till the wee hours of the morning until my mom or dad would come and pull me by the ear and say, "Hey, time to come home." But kids these days are being locked up. Parents are afraid for their safety. And, a lot of these kids are playing video games, and that's how they're keeping themselves busy. We want the kids back on the streets. We want them in sports. We want them in the community. We want them to make friends and live a normal life.
Riding their bikes, having fun at the park, you
Yeah.
bet. Mike,
And
let's
to answer
talk
your
about...
question, Brad, to
What's
answer your
that?
question, we just need to surround ourselves with like-minded people.
Yeah,
People that
that's...
really want change for Winnipeg. And I don't think I will tolerate somebody who's on council who's going to push their weight around. And I think that's what's going to happen. And that's what's been happening is the same old status quo. And if you're not part of it, you're not part of it. But I want you to know something. I'm not politically connected. I will never be politically connected. I don't want to be known as a politician. I want to be known as a businessman, because the city of Winnipeg needs to be run like a business. Make smart decisions, smart choices, and at the end of the day, put as much money back in your wallet as you could.
I agree, Mike. Let's talk about construction zones. There's another big project with a lot of money attached to it. I saw you posted a video the other day that absolutely exploded online. Why did you think that video connected with so many people, Mike? What was that about?
I think 'cause so many people are frustrated with the city using all these cash grabs, I would call them. So you have a construction zone where you have, and I want you to know first that safety is important for me. The safety of the construction workers is first and utmost the most important. But photo radar vehicles sitting in a construction zone that's empty, where there's no construction workers for miles and miles, the road's closed, no one's around, no one's going to get hurt. But what do? They set up a photo radar. And in many cases, no construction workers anywhere inside either. So the thing is, we need to change the way this works. And we cannot use this as a cash grab. We have to make it safety first. But at the same time, we can't use safety for you to make money from the taxpayers. Before I got on the show tonight, I actually got a message from someone, and it basically said, "Hey, Mike, thanks for creating awareness and posting that video that you did," because he got a ticket the day after in that same construction zone that I was talking about. And in that traffic zone where I took that video, there's not even construction on the street. It's completely off the street and away from traffic. So I want you to know I support protecting construction workers 100%. Safety must always come first, no doubt about that. But citizens are asking fair questions. Where's the actual work taking place? Why are some of these zones sitting empty for weeks or even months? Why are the drivers getting massive tickets when no active construction is happening? That is where the frustration is growing, Brad. And that's where people are getting upset and want accountability.
Mike, some people will say that construction zones are there to protect workers. Are you against construction safety zones?
Absolutely not. I'm 100% against for the safety of workers, but I'm against having construction zones that have no construction workers, no machinery on it, just miles of emptiness. So there should be another, in Ontario, I believe it is, they have signs saying construction workers present. So when you're pulling into that zone that there's construction workers present, the sign's flashing, It's telling you that. But to use a construction zone as an enforcement zone, to me, is 100% wrong.
Can't agree more. I mean, I've driven past the van sitting on Abenoji Mikana. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
Bishop, the old
uh,
Bishop Grandin.
exactly. A lot of people feel these zones are starting to look more like cash grabs than actual safety
Well, they're
measures.
out there at 8:30 at night. There's nobody working on the bridge, but they're still sitting there anyway. And what else can you call it except a cash grab? I mean,
But,
people have been
but
driving the same road every day, and they know it's there. They know it's coming up. And for the guy that doesn't, well, he'll figure it out real quick. If he goes too fast going across that bridge, he'll end up in the river.
and you're right, construction zones should only exist to protect workers
Yeah.
actively working on site, not to confuse drivers and trap them with tickets. And that's what's happening. So if workers are present, slow down traffic immediately. No question about it.
Kind of crazy, isn't it? City's got to make money somehow, but as a mayor, there's a lot of different ways that can be implemented. And I like your idea about the bus shelters, about the advertising. I think that's all a good idea. Solar panels as well to get the lights going in there. What do you
Can you
think you're going
imagine
to do
going
differently
downtown,
as a
Brad?
mayor compared to this last mayor, or even let's talk about Sam Cates. I mean, he was there for 12 straight years and did a great job, is what everybody seems to tell me all the time. I wasn't in Winnipeg at that 12-year time frame, but you were there. What are you going to do is going to be different? It's going to be different from everybody else.
I think what the city of Winnipeg wants, first of all, they want a mayor who's going to be their voice. I believe there needs to be clearer and more honest signage at these construction sites. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be accountability, and there needs to be open book policy where people know exactly what's going on in the city of Winnipeg, and people are frustrated about being nickel and dimed while infrastructure continues to fall apart all around them. This comes down to fairness, Brad, accountability, transparency, and common sense and leadership. Winnipeg citizens deserve roads that are safe, and a mayor who's honest.
I agree. A mayor who's honest, a mayor who isn't out there for the daily photo ops or the photo shoots, right?
Do you know a mayor, like I'm getting attacked left and right. There's no doubt about that. But you know you're doing something right when people are attacking you.
I think that's
I have a really good chance of being mayor, and how can you help me? Well, soon we're gonna have a meet and greet, and we're gonna invite you to come out and come talk with me. Tell me some of your problems, maybe some of your solutions you have. We're gonna give out some signs. We're gonna give out get this. You haven't seen this in years. We're making up bumper stickers. And the bumper stickers you can put on your window, you can put on your bumper. But Mike Vogiatzakis for mayor bumper stickers. The buttons that you've seen that people love. There's going to be so much. The meet and greet is going to be really cool. Where you're going to be able to hear me speak. We're going to talk about some of the things we're going to do. And a lot of people are going, why aren't you rolling out your platform? Well, I can't roll it all on my platform now. I don't know who's going to jump in the race still. I don't want to give everybody the insight on what I'm doing. But I've talked about a few things that are really important. And one of them was cleaning up Winnipeg. Winnipeg is such a dirty city. Everywhere you go, there's garbage. And it's time to clean up Winnipeg and get the garbage off our streets. And we need to enforce laws more. When people are throwing, I was in a lineup the other day where I saw some people throw a bag full of garbage out their window. And there's no accountability for people doing that. So how do we keep our city clean? We hold people responsible for what they're doing. No more cigarette butts out the windows. No more throwing your drinks out the windows. We'll put up more garbage bins if we have to. Put your garbage in the trunk of your car when you get home or when you get somewhere where there's a bin. Throw it away. But it's time to clean up our city and be responsible citizens, because that's where it starts. By cleaning up our city, picking up those needles that are on the street that kids have a chance of being infected with every single day. Pick up the garbage, pick up your trash, and be responsible.
all right, Mike. We mentioned that it was going to be one of those shows tonight where things could run for an hour and a half to 2 hours if we wanted to. We've got about 9 minutes left, maybe 8.5 minutes left until the witching hour of 10 p.m. in Manitoba time. We have a chance here to continue talking about things like, how about parking in Winnipeg? Why so many people are frustrated? seems everywhere you go these days, people, feel confused. They know it's
Do
expensive
you
and
have
it's
the
difficult to
parking
park your
signs?
vehicle. What's your plan, Mike?
Do you have the parking signs that you could put up?
I don't have the parking signs yet. Do they say Mike Vogiatzakis for mayor on them?
No, 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 no. They're just the signs for the city of Winnipeg. But Brad, parking in Winnipeg has become an absolute nightmare for many citizens. Seniors are frustrated, families are frustrated, small businesses are frustrated, and people are tired of feeling punished every time they drive downtown or go to an appointment. We removed hundreds of parking meters across Winnipeg and replaced them with confusing phone apps, changing zone numbers, QR codes, and systems many people, especially seniors, struggle to use. Not everybody has a smartphone, not everybody has a credit card, and not everybody wants to stand outside in freezing cold weather trying to figure out an app just to park their car. And the funny thing about that is Winnipeg is a city where they shoot a lot of movies, right? Because Winnipeg was a unique city, a city that's old but classy, and those parking meters added to that. If you wanted to run in and do something, you could stick, a quarter or 50 cents in the machine and run in and do what you needed to do. So when I went to sign up for mayor to get my papers, Mike McIver and I went together. We stood outside for 25 minutes trying to figure out this app, and I didn't have my credit card with me, so I had to borrow Mike's credit card and put it in there. It was such a pain in the what. And then I thought about my mom or an elderly person or somebody who doesn't have a cellular phone. Well, good luck parking downtown. They've made it impossible, and they're changing things. They say they want a city that's more people friendly. Well, let me tell you something. You are far from people friendly when you take away what actually works and put something in there that really confuses people. Yes, for those that have, smartphones and are up to date with technology, sure, that works for you. But there's a lot of people who can't get a credit card. There's a lot of people who don't have phones, and some people who definitely don't have smartphones. So you look at your mom, Brad, or your dad, and you send them downtown, and they need to go to a medical appointment. Well, good luck. So another thing that I really want to do when we're on that track is I want to sit with my council in the first 30 days and try and create a free parking plan, whether it's an hour or 2 hours of free parking, so we can bring downtown back to life again, where you can actually park your car. You could go to medical appointments. You should be able to park at hospitals for free. Imagine being in the hospital, you're going in there for heart pains, and all you're worried about is getting that ticket or your car towed away. We need to bring some compassion back to the city and give back. After all the taxes we pay, the citizens deserve to feel a break, not to feel anxiety every time they park downtown or go to a restaurant or visit a hospital or support a local business. Parking should be simple, clear, fair, and accessible to everyone.
Mike, I think a lot of people are really feeling stressed. They get worried about accidentally taking a ticket. You leave it out there. You've done all of the app. You've gone into your appointment, and you know that you're there at your doctor's office for now. What should have been only an hour is now 2 hours. They don't want to run out and back down to the parkade or run out to the street to pump the meter again. They could sit there on their app right while they're inside there and do the same thing, obviously. But it is troubling and confusing because you're always pulling out that credit card and you're always spending more and more money. It's not like dropping a nickel or a dime or a quarter like the old days. Now we're talking about, you're paying $6.50 to park for 2 hours.
I definitely want to review Winnipeg's parking system and how it's affecting citizens, seniors, downtown businesses, and visitors.
Where does that money go to, by the way? What happens with the money there that they collect from parking meters, Mike?
That's a good question, and one I don't know the answer to. But another question you need to ask is who's taking care of parking authority, and it's a lot that I need to look into. And we have a good team that we're putting together, and we will have the answers to questions and make things as easy as we possibly can for Winnipeg citizens. See, a lot of downtown businesses have also said parking is confusing and hurting their traffic. And a lot of downtown businesses are closing. I took a ride downtown the other day, and wow, a lot of for lease signs, a lot of businesses just leaving. I think when people avoid downtown because of parking is stressful or expensive, local businesses suffer. That's the bottom line. And I think we should be encouraging people to visit downtown, support restaurants, shop locally, attend events, not making the experience frustrating. before they even get out of their cars.
Absolutely.
It all comes back to common sense leadership, Brad. That's what the city needs. I don't have all the answers to all the questions, but be assured, my heart and my soul will be with the citizens, and every decision that I make as mayor will be for you, for your kids, and for your family, and for a better Winnipeg. Not being politically connected is a big, big thing, where you could go in there, you're an outsider, and I'm going in to fight the system, not work with the system. I'm going in there to change the system, not fall into their system. And that's a big thing, because the city should work for the people, not against them. And I'm really big on that. And remember, for those people that wonder, I don't need a job. I really don't need a job. I'm a successful funeral director. Voyage Funeral Home was a successful funeral home. I'm doing this in memory of my brother. I'm doing it because I want to make change that's going to count. I want to respect the citizens, love the citizens, and give back to the citizens. And really, that's why I'm stepping outside my box to make change for your families.
I remember the Portage Avenue, even the corner of Portage and Main at Christmas back in, the 70s and 80s, and just the joy it brought to me as a kid and everybody else that were kids back then too. And that excitement has died down there, and just like a lot of other people are doing these days, is dying downtown Winnipeg. And that care, it needs to be there as you move forward. And I know you've got plans on that as well, with regards to not only drug addiction, homelessness, mental health issues. There's so much to talk about. We are back, Mike, and the show is 100% good to go.
I love
and
it.
I'm happy about that, and I'm sure you are as well. The platform continues to be released as we move forward, right, Mike?
The platform hasn't even really started to be released. I've released little things here and there. I have such a powerful platform, and my platform is all about change, real accountability.
Why don't you give us a little bit of a glimpse into what next week's show is going to talk about? I think that keeping people updated and getting them ready for the next topic or two is important.
So as we talk throughout this whole platform, we're going to be releasing the platform right here on the show with Brad, and I'm glad he's back, and I'm glad he's not right beside me, but I can see him, so he's kind of there. But the show's going to be all about being accountable to the citizens, not to the TV stations, radio stations, or news stations. We want you to hear the news firsthand coming out of my mouth, so what I'm saying is what I'm saying, not what they're, say you're saying. How can you help the campaign? A lot of people are asking. In the next little while, our website will be out. We're going to be looking for all kinds of volunteers on our website. It's going to ask how you want to volunteer, what you want to do, how you can help the campaign. You can help by asking for signs, getting buttons, knocking on doors. There's so many things you could do, and the thing we need the most is donations. And if you can make a donation to the campaign, it will make a huge difference in getting into the mayor's chair. It's going to be quite a fight. Don't forget, an incumbent mayor is very hard to beat. Mayor Gillingham definitely has the better seat right now. And usually, I don't think a mayor's been beaten in Winnipeg for 70 years, I believe it is. So we will make history that night, and in beating an incumbent mayor. And we have a movement going on. And how do you make this movement grow stronger? You share the message every time you see it. You tell friends about it. Not everybody watches the show, but you know what? Share the show. Like to share show. Follow it. Follow me on Facebook. And the more powerful we make this platform, the more powerful we make this movement, the more of a chance we have to make positive change in Winnipeg. Listen, Winnipeg is heading in the wrong direction. We all know it. And without saying it out loud, there's a system and a procedure in place, and our current mayor is following that. And we are going to break that system and procedure and give our city back to our citizens. We're not going to go to consultants all around the world to tell us what's wrong in Winnipeg. We're going to ask Winnipeggers what's wrong in Winnipeg, because who knows best how to fix Winnipeg other than the citizens that live here. Remember, I was born here, I was raised here, and I love Winnipeg.
You got my vote, buddy, and that's just like me. I'd stand there proudly right beside you if I could. I was, and I still wish I was today, but my life has taken a different path, and that's okay. I'm in the belly of the beast is what I call it now out here in Alberta, and it'll be interesting to see if I continue to call this the town that I call it or change it to Brookfield Asset Management.
Patrick Allard made a point of saying, tell 10 of your friends, not just one, tell 10 of your friends, and let's get a movement. You know, I love the support that I am getting. I love the people who are following me. And I will say one thing to you right now, face to face, I will not let you down. I promise I will be your voice and not disappoint you. I want to thank you for tuning in to another edition of Mike Vogiatzakis for Mayor. Real change now. God bless you and your families. Take care of yourselves and each other. Brad, thanks for joining me all the way from there to here.
We did it,
Good night,
buddy.
folks.
Coast to coast. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Take care.